All right, so we're going to go ahead and welcome our top story guest of the morning. We've got Eric Kulisch joining us today for our top story. And Eric, we've got some more leadership changes going on at Flexport. We had some exciting news around them tapping a new executive who was previously at Amazon. This next new executive also previously at Amazon.
Right. A couple months ago, they hired or announced the hiring of Dave Clark, who's basically, the number 2 guy or head of Amazon's worldwide consumer division, basically the whole online marketplace, the retail side, and all the transportation and logistics operations of Amazon, and basically was the brainchild behind all of that. He decided to leave Amazon and come to Flexport, which is, still it's technically a startup. It's about 9 years old. It's a startup freight forwarder out of San Francisco, which is very, they call themselves digitally first forwarder or logistics company, very tech heavy on kind of simplifying the whole international trade process using automation and then, increasing collaboration between all the parties in the shipping world by putting them all on one platform. And so he's coming over to be the CEO or co-CEO starting September 1st. He'll be the CEO for 6 months. And so it's a pretty big deal because they're kind of moving into the next phase of ramping up into a really large and powerful logistics company. And as they mature, he's going to help them scale up and expand their base. And so yesterday they announced the hiring of Darcie Henry, who was one of the top human resources people at Amazon. And she was, the vice president of human resources for that worldwide consumer division. And so she worked very closely with Dave Clark. And, normally, I don't necessarily report on human resource chiefs or human resource executive moves. Those are kind of behind the scenes types of positions. But, I thought it was pretty telling that she's coming on. They've hired 2, big wigs from Amazon, and she kind of knows Dave Clark's mindset, what he's looking for in talent. And so they'll be able to work together as they really scale up and look for talent for software engineers, for logistics professionals, and for people who work in warehouses and fulfillment centers.
Eric, that was going to be my next question because this is definitely intriguing, really kind of focusing on what areas that they're going to be growing in, but it sounds like this is going to be pretty much widespread.
Yeah, we'll have to see, exactly how they grow. You can anticipate potentially some acquisitions. A lot of the growth will be organic. How much they decide to grow with physical, assets and warehouses is open to question. They're not, zero asset type of company, maybe an asset light company, but they probably will expand some of their own facilities that they manage. And so they'll need warehouse workers. They'll need other types of operators in the field, custom specialists and so forth. So, it'll run the gamut. And at Amazon, it's such a huge company. Henry was in charge of hiring. She had like literally hundreds of people just in the HR staff to manage and hire, thousands of people, company-wide, worldwide. So she knows what it's like to manage a large organization, and Flexport's flexing to get larger, than it is. And, they've become quite a well-known name in the 3PL world, especially since COVID, because, they've been smart and able to leverage their technology and, kind of get around a lot of the supply chain disruptions for customers. So, they're definitely a company on the move.
Eric, Flexport founder Ryan Peterson was super active on Twitter after Dave Clark's addition to his team and bringing him on as CEO. And he was really kind of excited and really kind of just super out there about how he was expecting Dave to do. Did he have any comments, or has he commented at all on Twitter about Darcie's on Darcie's move into the team and how she's going to help them with their goals?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess I'm, not a digital native where I'm checking all my social media all the time. So sorry about that. I didn't check, but let me get back to you on that one.
And Eric, as you close out this week, what other stories are you going to be looking at? I know you always have your finger on the pulse when it comes to air cargo. Are there any interesting stories that you want to cover from this week or anything that you're looking forward to going into the next week?
Yeah, I'm looking at, kind of on the e-commerce side, the Edmonton International Airport in Canada just got some money from the federal government there, from their kind of trade infrastructure program to expand. I'm checking into it, and it looks like it's a lot bigger than what the government's giving them. They've got a project, like a roughly $4 billion project to build a huge cargo logistics park. And that's heavily focused on e-commerce. And they kind of envision themselves becoming this e-commerce hub for air cargo, where you distribute to the U.S. by stopping in Edmonton, because the polar routes by air are shorter from Europe and Asia. So why go all the way into congested airports in the U.S.? So that's one. And also looking at potentially some airlines stopping to ship monkeys for research for vaccines and other things, be under pressure from PETA and other groups. So at least the bigger airlines have pulled back from that under pressure.
Interesting to watch. Eric, thank you for joining us this morning. Great to have you, as always, covering the pulse of kind of what's going on with Flexport. We'll talk to you again soon.
See you, Kaylee. Thanks a lot.